name is Bill Furbush, Superintendent of Epping Schools. And today we have our new principals and building administrators with us that I wanted to introduce you to. We have Chris Mazzone at EMHS, Jill Lizier, and Mandy Murphy at EES. And today's just an opportunity for you to get to know them a little bit. Welcome and thank you for coming to have this little conversation with me.
Thank you.
Thanks.
The first question I have is, all of you made a choice to come to this very special district, and I feel we have such great potential moving this district forward. But I want to know, why did you choose to come to Epping and become part of this team? Anyone can go first.
I don't mind jumping in first. One of the reasons I wanted to come to Epping was to be a part of the team of teachers and administrators that are here. I know quite a few people that work here, and it just seems like a place that's ready to move forward and be top of the notch instructionally and work together as a team to make sure we meet the needs of all of our students. I enjoy working with everybody so far, and I can't wait to see what we can do.
I'll go next. My motivation at first was to change grade levels. I was looking to just get some elementary experience, and having grown up on the seacoast and having driven through Epping and been in Epping many times in my life, I decided I felt like it was a good opportunity for me to explore another part of the area that I felt was up and coming, and educationally it had some really good things on the horizon, and I wanted to be a part of it. And so I did, and I'm really happy I made that choice.
Excellent. Chris, and a unique piece of your connection is you're a resident as well.
Sure.
Why did you want to become an administrator here in Epping?
Similar to what my counterparts at the elementary school said, there really are a lot of fantastic things going on there. There's an opportunity with the teaching staff and to sort of hit a place where we're destined for greatness. You know, there's some really good things in place, and we can move forward quicker. For me, my career has spent almost the last 20 years or so working for other communities and other people's kids, and an opportunity which I think is sort of once in a lifetime to do the same thing for my community and my own children. So I was looking forward to that, and all of those pieces together really made it a pretty easy jump.
Well, thank you all. I know the interview process wasn't easy, and you guys came out ahead, and I think we've established a wonderful administrative team right here in Epping to do that good work. So thank you for joining our team and being such a crucial part of it. I'm going to start with you, Chris, this time. You know, we all have our own history of being in the classroom, being teachers, and then at some point, and I don't know what that point is, but I'd like to know when that point is, what made you decide to make that next step and become an administrator?
I think for me it was somewhere in teaching years 7, 8 is when I started thinking, you know, I was able to create change and make a difference within my classroom with a small group of learners, and the thought of being able to sort of expand that sphere of influence over maybe whole departments or whole schools to do things which I thought were best for kids was just the next logical step to accomplishing that. I have found, no offense, that I'm certainly in a comfortable place in a building with kids and teachers. So I know some people's trajectories are, you know, principal, assistant principal, and move up. I'm really comfortable, and I really love being at the building level with kids. So
The building level has its very special place, and I still tell everyone today one of my favorite positions was being a middle school principal. So
That's the
absolutely,
best.
no offense taken. Mandy, how about you? When was that moment when you decided to become an administrator, and why?
I think it's funny. I actually never wanted to be an administrator. I thought for sure I just wanted to stay in the classroom. And I kind of had natural decisions along the way that changed me ever so slightly in that direction. When I was teaching international, I did some teacher training on learning environment and community and building culture, which then shifted my focus to school counseling and taking on a role where I could impact the social emotional learning for students. So I then went and did that, and I was a school counselor, and the school that I was at, an assistant principal position opened up, and I kind of become the principal's sort of go-to for some of the things that were happening around the building, and I liked that, and I liked being, like you said, starting to see my influence going outside of the classroom setting or small group settings. So I threw my name in the hat for that, and it worked out, and loved every minute of it. and then came here to Epping, and same thing. And then again, a natural sort of occurrence happened where I was able to step up and take even more of a leadership role. And although there were times that it was, uncomfortable and I wasn't sure what to do, I was loving every minute of growth. And so, yeah, I've got to the point now where I'm like you, I don't want to go any higher, but I like where I'm at, and I like how it changes me and how I can influence people and help people grow and change. And I love working with Jill Lizier, and we're having a great time figuring it out together this year and building our school community.
Well, thank you,
Yeah.
and we all know unexpectedly your path. You stepped up last year for Epping as well, and I want to say thank you for filling in as that interim principal last year and doing an excellent job, and then deciding that it wasn't so rough and that you really felt that the growth and the learning opportunities are there, and you wanted to continue in that role in a joint shared leadership
Yeah.
model. But before we get to that, Jill, you haven't had an opportunity. Why administration?
All right. So when you asked that question, I had like a flashback of the moment when I started to realize I wanted to move outside the classroom. When I was working as a first grade teacher, I would go into my principal's office often and be like, can you give me the big picture? Like, what's the why for this? And I was always curious in that. And then I went to our director of curriculum, Ellen Hume-Howard, and she showed me like this 5-year plan that she had. And I was so interested in it. And I was like, that's what I want. I like being involved with policies and procedures to make us be as efficient as possible to meet students' needs. So having that moment, I can picture exactly where I was when she showed me her 5-year plan. I was like, that's what I want to be a part of. I want to help build schools to do that. And then when I applied for this position here, the idea of doing a co-principalship is exactly like my dream. I think that as students and staff, collaboration is the one way that we can do this right together. And Mandy and I are modeling that and building it and showing it to others. And I'm thankful for the opportunity, and I'm thankful for Epping and Bill for opening the door to that.
Well, I think
Yeah,
the idea developed itself, and when you have the right teammates, it's a good choice. And
Yeah.
I'm glad that you're modeling that for us, and you're being very successful. So
We've had fun
thank you.
telling the kids as we talk about work-study practices how communication and collaboration are exactly what we have to do on a daily basis.
Every day.
So
Yep.
Those are your new code names. Communication and collaboration.
Let's stick with EES for a minute.
Okay.
You talked about the new leadership model.
Yes.
What do you hope to accomplish this year? What's your focus? What's your priority?
There's a fly. There's a fly going around me right now. Okay. So we are continuing to be a professional learning community at Epping Elementary School. And so my focus this year is to take a look at those structures there and support our teachers so they're able to do the things that a professional learning community does, which is support student learning. So, making sure we have dedicated time available for that. We're looking at student work during that time, or looking at our curriculum map, and then making decisions based off of where our students are right now. So my goal this year is to learn all of our strengths that we have as a professional learning community, and then continue to move us forward in that journey.
Yeah.
And then also in collaboration, like Mandy and I have been talking a lot about this, and like her focus too is also my focus. So like when I talk about like what my focus is, just know that we've discussed this together.
We joke
but
because I grew up as a twin, so I'm so used to saying we, but
Yes.
that is a
Yeah.
change when you're
Yeah.
collaborating with someone, so you have to but no, these are great conversations, and Jill's strengths are strengths that are really helping me grow as a leader, and I've already noticed from the time we started collaborating together till now that the way in which I have strengthened that skill set for myself. And I think one of my natural strengths is that the community building and culture and environment. And one of our strengths, one of our goals this year as a school is to work on continuing to build that culture. I think we had some really great growth last year as a school in terms of both staff and students, and just feeling that EES was a place we wanted to be, and we felt really good and happy and safe. And so one of the things we made time for in our schedule this year was morning meeting, and having a dedicated time every morning for all classrooms to have morning meeting, and really putting focus on teachers developing those communities in their classroom in a way that was consistent across the school. in a time and day, and which is also allowing us, this Friday we're having our first whole school morning meeting, and we're going to go out on a limb and have everyone greet each other and model what it looks like, and you know, we're taking risks to make it happen, but we're really excited about it. And then we're also long-term thinking for the year is also to include some time at the end of the day for closing circle, and really bookending our day for coming together. It's important that you came, and now reflecting on your day and how was it, and getting ready for the next day ahead. So,
Those are
yeah,
a lot of
good
great
stuff.
plans, and I think they match the district's goals in a lot of ways, where you talked about meeting students where they're at and then moving forward with instructional practices, and then moving the district forward in our community. Last year, adversity with COVID and other things, you stepping up as an interim principal, that adversity you were still able to bring together that community and that adult community, and now really some of the plans this year are to bring together the student community with the morning meetings and other things. So thank you so much. They're very well thought out, and I'm excited
And
to
we're
see.
grateful because our staff has definitely been on board with you know, giving their all and trying their best. So we'll see what Friday brings.
How about EMHS? What are some of your top priorities and focus this year?
Well, so for us, I think, you know, getting back to the notion that we're here for kids, and I think our faculty, our community, our staff, incredibly hard work, and they've been through a lot. And you know, we've talked about the adversity of the last 2 or 3 years, turnover, and you know, other kinds of things there. So for us, kind of building that community, like our friends at ES are talking about, and making sure that we understand that we're all in it for a common goal. That goal is to expand whatever outcomes for kids, whether they're educational, whether they're social emotional, whether they're behavioral, that make sure that we're holding high expectations in all things that we do. At the same time, kind of sticking with our faculty who has stuck with us and who have stuck with our kids, to develop, and we've talked a little bit between buildings about developing systems that make sense and make people feel comfortable, so they have sort of everyone's at the same jumping off point, and really, again, making sure that core of what we do and how we feel about what we do is here, and it's foundational, and that it's consistent. And then again, that sort of next step is letting folks know about us and getting to know more about them. I will say that I've thoroughly enjoyed the opportunity to work as a campus with EES. We find ourselves, even though we're both new and have different experiences, having conversations about a lot of really granular things, but also a lot of really big picture things. And I think that feels really good to me as a building leader, but also as a community member. So those things are really neat.
You brought up some really great points, and I just want to elaborate on a couple of them. Is the consistency between the buildings. In just a short time, sometimes new administration brings new opportunities, and I've seen that develop as we have our leadership team meetings, and as we meet together. We have been moving forward very consistently in that same direction, whether it's our work-study practices that were well developed at the EMHS, but not so much at the elementary school, and we've rallied behind the Portrait of the Graduate, and we all have our goals moving that forward. And I liked your statement where we're one campus, and we've been looking at that both for security purposes, but also everyday events, and how do we make that community of students interacting with each other. And I know we've talked a lot about different ideas to get our older students working with our younger students on a much more regular basis, and I'm real excited to see some of those things develop over the next year and years. So thank you for bringing up that focus. I really do feel that we're trying to develop our community this year has been a theme that we all have worked on. Let's take the serious stuff out. What do you guys do for fun? What is it that, you know, we all know we work hard. You're here every day, but we all have to have some sort of outlet that lets us have some fun and make sure that we have some sort of balance. And we know as administrators that's often hard. What do you guys do? I'll start with you, Chris, for fun.
Well, in our home, we have 5 children, 10 chickens, and 3 dogs. So I would like to tell you that caring for all of that is fun. But the fun that goes with busy kids' sports schedules, you know, band and drama, music concerts, just being the dad stuff is you know, as I've gotten older, prioritize that. And so that is my fun. That is what I do when it's time to be dad. That's the fun. So whatever it is, as long as we're together doing it, that's what I look forward to, if and when it's still light out when we leave.
There you go.
That'll end soon with
Very
the
nice.
fallback.
And you have open house tonight, so.
Yeah.
How about the two of you? Who would like to go?
I was just thinking, like on a small term, what I like to do for fun I like to joke here. I'm the one that always calls. I'm a big caller. I like to talk to people on the phone and reflect. And Mandy's now getting used to my nightly calls. Like, hey, how's it going? What are you doing?
I get mine on Fridays.
Yes, we talk about work, but then it's
Then
also
our kids talk together too.
Yeah,
They
I just
develop a
like
friendship.
friendships and relationships and being with people. And then on a large term for fun, I mean, being with my family, we travel, we like to go on adventures together, and it could be a small adventure to, Stratham Hill Park, or a big adventure where we, go on a plane somewhere. So, yeah, that's it.
Nice. I'll echo the family piece. Life at home is very busy with a 3-year-old in a month. He'll be 3. And a 5-year-old who just started kindergarten. So a lot of our fun right now is the make-believe stuff at home. I think I was a boat the other night piled with stuffed animals and everything else like that. So, it's the make-believe play at home that's really fun with that age level. But isn't always fun, as it takes a lot of the energy at the end of the day too. I'm not gonna lie, I'll be human. But no, it's a lot of fun. And my husband and I like to take the kids and just do adventures and things. This time of year is our favorite, just apple picking and going out and doing the corn mazes are fun, but also just being out in the yard. And the kids like to help us plant and take care of the lawn and stuff like that. So it's fun. We're lucky we live around a lot of area where we can just go explore. So it's fun.
I encourage you all to remember that balance. And sometimes it gets out of balance, but we want you here for a long time, and we're here for support, and you have your team to support, and make sure that balance is always there. And so have your fun, because that enables us to work harder for our responsibilities here.
Definitely.
The last question I have for each of you is, can you share a story? Something that either exemplifies Epping in the first few weeks that you've been here, month that you've been here. Share a story that you'd just like to share with everyone.
I don't think Mandy's gone first yet.
I know. No, actually, I was just going to say I'll go first. There's pressure to that. I do have a few different ones, but I think the one that just jumped into my head first was on our opening day with our staff. We, of course, the staff has had a few different administrators, and that's, a hard way to start a year is when you're coming in and there's more change and there's new things to expect. And so knowing that this staff is a group of people who are just so willing to take on that change and be like, I'm on board, I'm part of this team. So the first day we had our staff meeting, and Jill and I are getting up, and it's the first time they're seeing us together, and so we decided, and I was so grateful that we could do this together, to have them do a fun activity where they were a little out of their comfort zone but part together and having fun. And the noise in the cafegimatorium, I should say, of the laughter and the giggles and the discomfort at times, because the game we played asked them to very quickly call on each other's names, which if you've never done that, or when you run into someone in the street and you don't remember their name, but you really can't ask them what their name is again. It was kind of like that. So it was this natural piece, but the laughter, and then when I looked through pictures afterwards and just seeing their faces, it was a reminder of why we're all doing this together, and just a lot of fun, and also just showed me that we have a crew of people who are really excited to be here for kids and to be here for families and just to do good work every day and have fun doing it. So I really liked that pause, that moment to remember that we can laugh and have fun together. So,
Nice, thank you for sharing.
That's my story.
Jill or Chris, who would like to go next?
Do you want to go next?
So I'm gonna, yeah.
Yeah.
So there was a few that came to mind, but last week we had our open house, and I told the story where I had a teacher come up to me and say, what's your wish on kids, slapping high fives in the hallway? And, every 6th and 7th grader can't walk down a hallway without trying to hit the top of the doorway. It's definitely a thing.
Yeah.
And, by 8th, 9th grade, they're a little too cool for it. But by 6th and 7th, it's still a challenge. And so I think pre-COVID, that used to annoy us. But when the teacher asked me, I had to stop for a second and think. And I said, no, they're finally allowed to touch each other again appropriately. Let them slap hands. I don't care if they wash their hands before they go to lunch. Let's see how high they can hit the door. I was just so glad that that teacher brought that to me so that I could think for a minute. They're ready to get back to normal. The kids are ready to get back to normal. Some of us have forgotten what normal is, but that is normal. And that is normal for that age group. And I'm excited for kids to have the opportunity to get back to normal. So that was a big one.
Thanks.
Yeah. That age level they do like to run and jump
They
out.
can't help it.
Yes.
5th graders try, they just don't
They just don't
get
get to.
super high.
Yeah.
And their principal
They're getting
doesn't look
ready.
so cool doing it.
No.
But I do it sometimes too.
All right, so Miss Murphy and Mandy and I have gone around to every classroom and we've met the students, and then we also talked about our student handbook and talked about being safe and being here to learn. And some of my favorite memories so far this year are having those conversations with kindergartners all the way up to 5th graders. We said at the end ask us any questions about us or about being safe in school and learning. And you got some really great challenging questions with 5th graders about cell phones and all those questions that they have, and I loved that. And then you have your kindergartners asking questions or telling us things that aren't related to the topic. And it just warmed my heart because here we are. Of course, we were friendly and nice and talking, and we were talking about like school rules and expectations, and kids love that. They want to be around us. They want to be around principals, teachers. Like, even if you're telling them to do something, they want your time and attention. And that was a really, really special time in each class.
It was fun.
Yeah.
Well, thank you all for sharing all your stories and being part of our Epping community, being part of our Epping schools. I know we're going to accomplish some great things this year, and that's thanks to your hard work and effort. And that's it. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for watching,
Thank you.
and we
Thanks.
hope that you come back and watch us again. Have a good day.